Hello and welcome to Midweek Gaming. It's the 3rd of February and we're back raring to go. If you want to check out a really good gaming website, a nice independent gaming website, please go to www.bg4ghub.com for your latest independent news, reviews, opinion pieces and podcasts. And if you'd like a custom gamer picture or logo from the graphic god, please go to www.xboxgamerpics.com. Thanks. Welcome, Mr. Tushi. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay.
You got the giggles today or something?
People on the stream, have a look at Mr. Tushi's camera.
No, you don't tell him. I was waiting for someone to notice.
You been up to much this week?
Work. I've been up about 19 hours now.
Really?
So I may fall asleep on camera, I think.
Right, you do some wrong.
What's the over and under, and if he drools and snores?
You've been gaming much.
When he does say no.
Say again.
Have you been gaming much? It's pretty much a stupid question for you. That is.
Actually, I haven't this week.
Really?
I went on. I had a round of golf with Al. 2 rounds of golf this week. I've been on Call of Duty for about an hour. That's about it, really.
That isn't a lot for you. No, it's surprising.
No, I don't know. I'm just tired, I think. Long days at work.
Driving in London, dealing with snow.
Digging with getting your wheels stuck in mud and
trying to tip his truck over. Yeah.
Has anyone noticed it yet?
Look in Mr. Tukey's camera. There was something funny there. Dragon Ball said, is it a butt plug?
No comment.
He's not denying it, so you know.
Welcome, Indie Gamer. Welcome, Dragon Wolf. Welcome, Telegonic, and welcome, Judzilla. Welcome the 5 likely lads. Thanks for stopping by. New to the chat, appreciate it. Cerebral, well, welcome, Cerebral Paul. Cerebral Paul in chat, everyone.
Hey,
crazy Greek dude back from the dead and infinite. How are you doing, Cerebral Paul?
Oh, I'm doing really good, actually. Well, not too bad, actually. So yeah, let's see. I've been doing a lot of golf, beating everybody. So I'm pretty good.
Good to hear. Did you beat Mr. Tushi? I saw that all.
Yeah,
you did.
I have. Yes.
Now, would this happen to be the night that Mr. Tushi snubbed us?
Yes.
Yes.
You know where your real friends are, aren't you?
Yeah. We're sitting there waiting to play Gears Horde, and there's him streaming golf.
No, the thing was, we was planning for a quick round of golf, like for an hour, and then like 2 more people joined in. It took about 2.5 hours, I think, to get the 18 holes done.
Yeah, because a lot of messing around, and I've been doing the medium quite a bit, and I actually on the Ambassador podcast I won a copy of Hitman 3, so I've been kind of dinking around in that a little bit too.
Ooh.
I'm really bad at that game. Stealth is not my thing.
Stubbs, your microphone's crackling a lot.
Is it?
It is?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's proper popping.
That's not you, not you, Cerebral. It's Stubbs.
No, it's Stubbs.
Oh,
Really?
you mean...
Okay.
Yeah, you get like a crackle. It crackles every time you talk.
Okay. I'll fix that quickly. I'll own it.
Unplug.
I was going to say, I shouldn't be cracking or anything now. I've moved stuff around a little bit. The mic's right in front of me.
No, you're very clear, I must admit.
Yeah.
Is that a can of beer I can see?
Yes, it is.
Is he
It
back?
must be Bush. Is it Bush? What
No,
is
I
it?
don't
can't
drink
ask
that
it.
crap. No, I drink... No, good
Oh.
God.
ACS Huskies, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You've been banned now.
No, I always tease him for drinking that piss water that he drinks. You know, but it's when it's you know, $10 for a case. You know, it's not good beer. Okay, it's. But when you drink as much as he does, you got to go on the cheap. You know.
That's his daily dosage, you know.
Yeah, pretty much.
A case a day keeps the doctor at bay. Oh, Stubbs is moving around.
Is that any better?
Now it's a bloody butt plug. Okay, well, yeah.
Is that any better?
I'm still here.
Any better?
No, it's still the same. Can everyone hear the same? Nope.
Yeah.
Unless it's my headphones.
It doesn't seem like he's cracking to me.
Hello?
Are you on that damn Samsung phone again or whatever it was?
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, it's okay here. Indie Game reckons it sounds all right.
It must be tushi again then.
Hang on. Yeah, I think it's me.
You know what it is, don't you? I think the butt plugs are causing interference.
He's using earbuds. He's not using headphones.
It's two.
He always uses earbuds.
You been playing much else then, Cerebral?
I haven't really had time for much else. No, that's been about it because I've been streaming a lot of it. A lot of golf with the guys, a lot of hours in the medium, and Hitman 3, just kind of looking around in it, and a few other things here and there just to look around. Oh, wait, I take that back. I've spent quite a bit of time in Desperados 3, which I'm also very bad at.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah,
you enjoy. It sounds like you've been enjoying. I mean, been enjoying it all, which sounds good.
Oh,
I've not tried Desperados 3, but I do know that's hit Game Pass recently.
You're right. That's the main reason I'm trying it because it's on Game Pass. It's really, to me, it's really difficult because they have a very linear thing they want you to do for each thing, and it's like, but I'd rather go over here and kill this guy first. No, I can't do that. You know.
Fair enough. Now, hello VJ, how are you? And what have you been playing? As I know, the indie gamer might be very interested to hear what you might have been playing.
Yeah, I've just been playing some Hollow Knight. The indie gamer kind of twisted my arm up against my back. Yeah, I sent a tweet out yesterday, and I've had a chat with the indie gamer, and that once you get into the game and once you start playing it, and to me, I think I tweeted something along the lines of yesterday. It's the absolute personification of grace, beauty, and song. Perhaps song needs to be replaced with melody, but that's just semantics. But I really, really enjoyed it, and I'll probably get back to it later on this evening. There's a lot of good stuff in Game Pass at the moment. Just before Hollow Knight, I completed the medium as well, so over the weekend.
Good to hear.
So yeah, I've got some time on my hands to play some games. So I am picking and choosing. But there are some fantastic games in Game Pass that I'd like to get to, including the Yakuza series, which we've talked about.
Hey.
But it's just the depth and breadth of some of these games. You don't expect it, but Hollow Knight, yeah, it's definitely a surprise for me at least. So yeah, all good in that sense. And yeah, I'm looking forward to today's topics. And thanks for inviting me on.
No, it's always a pleasure to have you. How are you doing, Animated Evil? And what have you been playing? I'm just about to switch microphones, just so you know.
Okay, so at length then. To be fair, I'm very well, sir. A bit of a boring story. I've been playing a lot of golf. This seems to be the flavour at the moment. Very addictive when you get a few friends in, although I have had some technical issues this week. I don't know why, but I got kicked out of a few golf games. It's not nice playing golf for an hour and a half and then having nothing for it on the 13th hole. And yeah, so I've been playing that. Still doing Jedi Fallen Order, which is brilliant. And I'm also hitting COD a lot for some reason. One of my sons decides he wants to play with multiplayer a lot. At the moment, his new flavour is Call of Duty. So yeah, bit of a boring, nothing new.
Yeah, we think he actually drops the golf game just because he doesn't like losing. He's a sore loser, so you know.
That's a possibility. That's a possibility.
He's gone quiet, so I suggest we continue with that one, guys.
It's not removable.
You know what Stubbs is like. Oh, okay. I kind of threw myself into the wrong area there, didn't I? Yeah. Again, I've been invited onto this show. It's always nice to see the infamous Six now on the stream. It's great to be back again. Myself, I have been playing. Well, I finished off the medium, so I managed to complete that, which I found was absolutely great. And I finally managed to, again, Tushi pushed me onto this. Finally managed to install Watch Dogs Legions onto my Xbox Series X. And if anyone's been following a couple of my tweets, you'll know the hell I've been having with that.
Good to hear.
Or if you've been having connection issues, that's not the game for you.
No, it's not the connection issues. This is where actually my system decides that it's just, the game doesn't want to play. The game decides, no, that's it. And it'll shut down, it'll crash. I've had wireless controller disconnecting from randomly. So, yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Though I will be fair, they did, once I tweeted out I had issues, they did ask me to go and have a quick chat with them directly, which I haven't had a chance to do yet. I will do. And my last playthrough actually was a lot more stable. So I don't know if something's happened recently. I could be saying it's Watch Dogs Legions, or it could be just the fact I'm in the alpha ring and that's causing some problems, which, if you are in the alpha ring, you will know that sometimes that does happen.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a little bit of, I'm trying to work out what's going on, first of all. But yeah, that was the very first time I actually had any issues with my Series X whatsoever. So, yeah, and those are the games I've been kind of playing at the moment so far.
Fair enough. Does my microphone sound better?
Yep.
Yes.
Am I cracking in?
Nope.
No, I've changed back to my other. I was using my white snowball, and that'd been working previously. So I don't know what's gone on there, whether it's the cable or not. I don't know, but I've switched back to my old one. I have, so that might have been the problem. I mean, we bought it for 15 quid off Facebook, so the white one. So that might be why they got rid of it. But the past few shows, it's been fine, But welcome, Invader Gaming, and it was nice to speak to you earlier on, Judzilla, on the old Discord chat, and the Indie Gamer dropped in for a chat. Mass Mayhem, there's quite a few of us in there helping Judzilla work out if his microphone sounded okay and that, but it's all good. It is. But yeah, so I think where Mr. Tushi's gone, whether his computer's died or I don't know what's going on there, but I'm sure he'll be back.
He's changing his butt plug.
Probably.
Yeah, he's taking out the second one.
So, I've got some a game to talk about. I don't know if any of you checked the trailer out. Biomutant. So basically, Biomutant's coming out on. It's been a bit of a silence on this. I got an article from Gaming Bolt. Biomutant is a name that I've been hearing about for quite a while. The game was first shown off early as 2018, but went silent for a very long time. Many assumed that it'd been cancelled until it showed up again around mid-2020. The game is now set for release this May. But what took so long? Well, it seems this game both got bigger and the team needed more time to get everything running well. In a lengthy interview with IGN, Experimental 101 studio head spoke about the game's now infamous delay nature. The explanation was simple enough. The game just got bigger than what we were originally expecting. The script, we said, it tripled from 80 to 85,000 words to 250,000 words, for instance, with a small team of only 20 people. That scope also meant a lot more bugs to fix, and that we wanted to make sure that we could deliver the best possible experience. It's been a huge amount of work for QA because it's not easy in an open world game to find them. And then once we found them, we have to fix them. That's what basically they're putting in some additional work, and it's created some challenges for a small team. Any game is going to ship with smaller bugs, but I'm talking about bugs that are truly just disruptive to the game experience. We don't want to ship with that. I think that's what's caused us to just wait until we're ready. Biomutant is not set, but it's the 25th of May this year, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Have any of you guys checked out this game? I dropped a trailer on gameplay. Gameplay trailer. Are any of you guys interested in this in picking this game up? Or
I want to check it out. It's interesting that it sounds like they started with the base game and they kept having ideas. Well, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, and nobody said no. So now they end up with this big gigantic game that's 5 times bigger than they thought it was going to be. Which is cool, but they created themselves a whole lot of work.
Oh yeah, they definitely are. Because I didn't even know about it. I tell you, I went on the Shop podcast, and the Biomutant was on there, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And I went and looked up all these video, and it's incredible. You're a little furball animal though, and you find these little big monsters. It's kind of like it resembles Monster World, but differently. Obviously, it looks fun. It looks a big game to play though. From what I understand, the customizations are down to a T, and every gamer should have a different experience. It sounds like one of them games that if you went and played through it once, you could go through and have multiple playthroughs and have a different experience each time. And if you get hurt or if you make bad decisions, or you can get infected with, your head starts turning green. I know my explanations ain't great, but it does look like a very unique game that every experience will be unique to each individual player, which you generally don't get with these open world games. They're generally everyone gets the same experience, really. You do.
The game itself was actually touted in 2018. And they actually carried off a demo at one of the. It may have done it in America as well, but they did actually play. You could play the demo in one of the big expos that we had over in the UK, and it then kind of went dead and quiet for quite a while. So it was nice to actually hear again that they've, the reasoning behind it and why this was, it was being kind of like hush hush, because I remember playing the demo back in 2018, it was just like, wow, this is really good. It's coming along well. So hearing that explanation kind of clicks well. It does understand. At least it understands it. But they were like, it was almost like off the radar for a lot of people because it was so silent. The team was just so silent, and we could never hear anything about them. So it's good to hear that this was the reason behind it, and it is coming out to the actual to all platforms soon.
Yeah, no, it looks really interesting. There's a lot of problem is though in May there's a lot of games coming out, so hopefully it does well. I mean, has anyone else got any thoughts on this game?
I think I saw. Sorry, does somebody else want to go?
No, you go for it.
I mean, the game's from THQ Nordic, right? And
yeah, because they started out. The studio is called I think Experimental 101, and the game did start at indie, but THQ Nordic acquired them.
Yeah, so I mean, and if anybody's not clear on that, the Embracer Group is the holding company, right? In case anyone's wondering. And for me, THQ Nordic, typically their new releases seem to sort of fall in price quite quickly and seem to populate Game Pass sooner rather than later. So that's one thing I'll definitely be sort of looking out for. The visual rendering and animation system, as soon as I switch the trailer on, sort of screams Unreal 4, and lo and behold, it does use Unreal 4. I mean, when I saw it, the game seemed sort of almost like a replicant of Monster Hunter, or at least duplicate the design model in some cases. And while my mind was wandering around during the sequence of events, I also thought in the trailer, I was watching the trailer, and it kind of reminded me of the China-based Unreal game that was showcased. I think the gameplay was showcased a little while ago, sometime last year, which I believe was Monkey and Journey to the West.
Brew Wang, wasn't it? I think it was.
It definitely gave me a kung fu vibe to it, and that was about it. I think the essential, if not crucial, key for me was the fact that my mind was actually wandering around while I was watching the trailer, and for me, that's not always a good sign or indication that the game is distinct visually or creatively in any shape, way, or form. And then I think it rolled into a demo walkthrough, and once that commenced, again, the game sort of highlights some concerns for me. Has somebody got something to say?
Oh no, I'm sorry. My mic picked up when I pushed it.
Okay, so the draw distance, and I think the draw distance and level of technical detail again was poor for me. And I mean, let's be clear, from a gameplay mechanics loop, notwithstanding or aside from these factors, I'm personally yet to be convinced. But I can agree, I guess, the team has some development pedigree, right? That I was just having a quick look in and amongst its ranks. However, it has to be taken into consideration. I'm assuming that this is their first game, right? From what I'm ascertaining from Mr. Subs. And the other side of it is that the Embracer Group is Nordic-based group, and I can understand that they've given the team, I think, the space, time, and money to produce something of quality. And I think that the Embracer Group, and I know Lars from the past, and I think that they're trying very hard to put Sweden on the map as a nation, almost similar to what CD Projekt Red and some other, Blooper, I guess, and others have done in Poland, and that they are definitely a creative a hub for gaming content going forward. So and it's their home territory, right? So I can understand the support that they're getting. I'm not sure what to expect from the title since as you mentioned, Mr. Stubbs, that what was it, 2017, 2018? A team of 20 people working on it for 2.5 years, and it's difficult to sort of imagine that they can put a game together that quickly, especially when you consider, right, the amount of time polish, balance, and QA requires. So maybe we don't have the entire development picture in terms of team structure, outsourcing, resources, budget, and conceptualization. But yeah, I don't think it's been clearly defined as yet. So I'm gonna hold my sort of my final thoughts. Keep them in reserve until we can get to learn more about the game. And the other thing is, it comes out 9 days before the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So. That's
the problem. There's a big release window in May. Yeah. There's about 3 or 4 games coming out. There is.
Absolutely. So
I believe. Yeah, thanks for that, Vijay. Very, very good thoughts on that, because it's a game. It has been mentioned on our Indie Games podcast as Indy mentioned, but in general, I've not really seen many podcasts talk about this game at all. I don't know why. But it is an interesting title. Welcome, Crazy Greek Dude, and welcome, HEK. And welcome, Dragon Wolf. Thanks for stopping by. You got any thoughts on this animated evil?
Yeah, to be fair, it does look a little bit like Monster Hunter, but I'm not a fan of Monster Hunter. But for some reason, the art style's got me with this. The little fairy characters and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Reminds me of something like the creatures in Oddworld's Wrath and stuff like that. Like the sort of design of them, a bit more cutesy, but yeah, I think it looks all me. It really does. I'll be honest.
Yeah, no, it's good.
But it depends on the gameplay loop, doesn't it? If it's just fetch and carry and do this and do that, I'll soon get bored of it. If it's hundreds of hours long, I don't think it'll keep me entertained for that amount of time.
Yeah, well, it depends. I don't actually know, but I do know one thing. The obviously, if you've watched it, the furry character doesn't talk, but there's a narrator. Sounds like a British narrator throughout the whole game. Talks for it, which I thought it was a British accent. I could be wrong.
He is. When I watched the trailer, I looked it up, and he's been in quite a few video games. They elude me right now, but when you go through his back catalogue, he's never been anything huge. He's been like a barkeeper in this game, and I think that's part of the charm. I think
that's probably it. I mean, obviously you got to remember 20 people worked on this game. I don't think we're talking hundreds of hours. Maybe 20, 30, 40 hours. I don't know. I wouldn't think you'd be talking hundreds though.
I think Mr. Stubbs, that's the base team. But what they don't allude to, and we'll probably find out when we see the credits, is how much outsourcing has actually been in addition to support the game itself. Because I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Someone asked me, I might have been on Boom Show. It was on Boom Show, and some of the games that I finished recently, you sort of go through the studio staff, and then another 2/3 of the credits for all the outsourcing companies that have been involved in the production of the assets, or music, or voice recording, or the cinematics, etc. Or QA for that matter, and localization. It's absolutely huge. So I don't think that there's 20 people sitting there translating the game into
No, you're right. Yeah.
I'm sure that. And just looking at what's the other Ninja Theory, right? They also have very tight teams, right? 20 people on Senua Saga. I think it's like 50 now. Senua Saga 2. But again, I think outsourcing is something that I don't think many podcasts cover that much. But it's big business.
No, it is. It is. It's like obviously. I know you're a lot sick of hearing me say Gears of War, but Gears of War heavily rely on a studio called Splash Damage, who have been acquired by lovely Tencent now. So hopefully the studio can keep using Splash Damage. Splash Damage ain't really a studio as such. They kind of do contract work for other studios for different games. They don't do their own IPs generally. They don't. But hopefully they can keep that relationship up. Welcome, Infinite. That's it. Well, thanks for stopping by, everyone. Now, Mr. Tushi, have you got any thoughts on this game? Did you get a chance to look at the trailer or any of the gameplay?
I've had a quick look at the. Can you hear me right first?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
It's definitely my headphones are gone. I'm having really bad luck with TechWise this week. It was weird. Is every time you spoke, it crackled, but it didn't with everybody else. But now we're around.
You're a little bit crackly now.
Yeah, I think it's the maybe it's the.
You're crackling now.
It's the port on the laptop, I think, because my USB ports have gone on it now. My microphone that I use, the USB port came out the back of it yesterday.
You could get a USB like 2.0 hub. I use a USB 2.0 hub with 4 connections in it. I do.
I haven't got a USB port now to plug them into.
Oh no!
It's literally on its last legs. This laptop. It's getting there. Anyway, on the game, I've had a quick look at it. I do like the art style. It does remind me of Ratchet and Clank in a way, like the gameplay and stuff. Like I said, like you got the fluffy characters and stuff. It is really eye catching, I think. And I don't know. It's been a while since I've been into games like that. I think the last time I was probably into like a cartoon open world sort of thing, it was probably Banjo-Kazooie. It's been a long time since I played games like that. I'm usually into like shooters and stuff, but some games catch my eye.
No, fair enough.
I didn't know the game existed until we sent the link today. So this one's completely.
It's good that more people are hearing about the game. It is, but yeah, it is interesting. Hopefully it does well. But everyone seems to be impressed with Animated Evil's beard in the chat.
Not as good as Tushy's. It's not as good as Tush, but it's mine's more looked after. Tushy's is just wild.
Mine is a ugly face.
Uh-oh.
Every time Tushy does that, I expect something to fall out.
The Mackie D's.
Yeah.
Domino's.
Some of his secret sauce. Yeah.
Oh.
There you go. There's the beard. In all its glory.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun.
What's he got? What's he got there? Oh, Domino's. Welcome, Still Rain. Thanks for stopping by. So, let's get on to another topic. We've got a packed one for the M1 because it's a hot topic in the community in a minute, but we'll move on to the next topic. The Medium. The Medium recently released. The Medium has already sold enough to recoup development and marketing costs. Blooper Team have made more than a few horror games these last few years, but their newest release, The Medium, was a big step for them. Not only was it quite different from the stuff they'd previously made, also it was their most ambitious project yet. And they, by the sounds of it, what they're saying is that they made their money back and profit based off game sales, not Game Pass, just game sales alone, which is a positive sign. I've only played like 20 minutes of it. Has anyone got any thoughts on this? It is very good, very positive for the Bloober Studio, because for what I gather, every game that they make, they progressively get better in talent and the quality. I know there's at least 2 people in here that have completed the game. Do you want to go with it, Removal, first?
Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a little bit biased, and I will say this previously, is that I've played every single game they've created. So I've played Layers of Fear. I played the Cyberpunk. I think it's obscure. I can't remember what it's called now. It begins with O. I played the Cyberpunk version with Rutger Hauer in it, which was one of my favourite games they created. The Blair Witch I've completed, and obviously now they've transitioned over to the Medium. They generally, up until the Medium, were known for doing first-person puzzle horrors, and that's the best way probably to describe it. They are particular in the way and how they wish to tell a story. They're very much a developer that listens to their own heart. They're out to make their own game. They don't listen to anyone else, which is always a good sign, I think. And they're happy to stick with their artistic view in how they proceed things. And as you rightly said, every game they have created, they've proceedingly got better. The games themselves are generally very story heavy, and they're really well done. I've yet to find one really. Probably Blair Witch was probably a little bit of a hit or miss with me, but the other titles I absolutely loved. They really do know how to hit the storytelling and the horror, at least for me, in my opinion, on the head. And what they've done with the Medium is exceptional, really, for a indie studio. We have to kind of remember that it isn't an indie studio. It is not a AAA publisher or developer, I should say, with hundreds of people, as you've alluded to, as you've mentioned previously. They're only a small team. Yes, they've had a bigger budget this time. Yes, they've got a bigger team this time. But for them to go from almost their staple diet of first-person puzzle horror games to a third-person puzzle horror game, and then also that's not even picking up the duplicate assets, duplicate ray tracing as well on this I wouldn't say the next gen. Well, we can't keep saying it next gen. It's current gen now, isn't it? The current gen systems I think, it's been done. They've done an amazing job for the little and what they have done. The accomplishments they've achieved in this game really should be taken into account. And if anything, it should really promote the indie gaming industry in its highest form. They've done something astounding with with really off their own backs.
It's good to hear it. It's good to hear when an indie developer puts, by the sounds of it, the amount of money they spent producing this game. For an indie studio, they took a gamble and it's paid off, which is great to see, because indie studios are generally the risk takers, and I wish more, the big studios would take risks, but this risk has really paid off. Yeah, I'm really pleased that they've sold well, and it will continue to sell well throughout the years, because eventually, don't kill me, it will come to other platforms eventually.
Well, to be honest with you, I hope it does. I hope it does get shared around. Actually, I'm not a gatekeeper of games myself.
I'm not saying it because it's locked up in marketing, but generally, if you look at all the previous games, they come into Xbox exclusively via Game Pass deal or whatever, because they've got a good relationship. Then down the road, they do transfer onto other consoles at a later date or whatever. But I could be wrong. But in general, that's what happens with Bloober Team.
I'm happy with that. To be honest with you, I think that should be. I think, to be honest with you, we shouldn't be gatekeeping games. We should be passing them around to other systems. And to be honest with you, what they've done here is nothing short of astounding in terms of the team they've done. I mean, look, we've got to remember this. This was a team that was well known for a particular way of doing things. Yes, they did keep to their artistic style and artistic intent. And as you rightly said, as indie devs do, they take risks. And in this case, it has paid off. I know there are people who probably have gone into this game a little bit of a misconception. That's another thing. Remember, this is also a genre which is niche as well. We have to remember that. Third person.
Yeah, but horror in general.
Puzzles, third person puzzle horrors is a niche market. It's not as widespread, as big as the first-person shooter genre. It's not as wide as even just the horror genre in general. It is a niche market. So for them to take this risk, and also to do something like duplicate worlds running at the same time, you have to kind of give it props to them. They didn't just, we'll just make a little tweak. They've gone, do you know what? We're going to do as much as we can possibly, and see how it goes. And so, fair play to them.
No, it's good to hear. That's what's good to see about when indie developers take risks. It obviously paid off for them if they've already broken even and made a bit of a profit, and that's just based off game sales alone. So, and we're only a few. Well, what are we? A few days, not even a week in from release, or
probably just coming up for a week now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good all around. You got. Is that all the thoughts you got on it? Removable.
I'll be quiet because I'll speak a hell of a lot about this area. As I said, I'm slightly biased, so in that case, I'm going to let other people have a chat because I can well talk about them.
Do you want to jump in the Cerebral? I know you've been playing this game.
Yeah, I do. First couple of things I want to say. Somebody was trying to tell me yesterday they made their money back because Microsoft wrote them a check. Blah blah blah. No, it says sales. It says sales. And what people fail to understand, they keep trying to say, well, Game Pass is going to kill game sales. No, a lot of games have continued to make money and get their money back, even though they're on Game Pass. Because not everybody uses Game Pass, or they decide, hey, I really like this game. I want to support the company. Rock on. It's like, so that's a misnomer. The other one I've heard, and people need to understand, this game is a throwback to the old style of horror game. A little bit of Silent Hill, a little bit of Resident Evil, a little bit. I mean, if you played Grim Fandango recently, the fixed camera thing, very cool. It's a little awkward because we're not used to it anymore, but a lot of the games we used to play were like that. And somebody last night in the chat was trying to tell me, well, they used the fixed camera because the system couldn't handle the free camera.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You're full of crap.
Yeah, right.
It was
well, actually, to be honest with you, the reason for the fixed camera, well, at least from the developer I spoke to, who'd actually worked on one of the original Resident Evils, was that they found that a floating camera actually killed a little of the suspense.
It does.
With a fixed
Absolutely.
camera, you can't see what's around the corner. And back in those days, how do you build up tension into a game? The best way of it is obscuring what you cannot see. So you'd often, if you remember Resident Evil, you'd hear something first.
Yep.
Then you know something's around the corner, but you can't see it until you turn around the corner. And in that case, it's almost bam, you see in front of you, it's a scare machine. So it is often
did the exact same
utilized.
thing here, and they did the exact same in a few instances in this game. They did the exact same thing. You know that thing is coming. You heard him, but you don't know where the heck he's at. You know.
Yes.
and you know, and it's all for the feel they went. They went old school. They did it on purpose. It was a stylistic choice. You know, the flashlight on her chest. So that's extremely old school. That's a direct call back to some of the older games. You know.
But even as you said, even the light, or even the actual light on their chest. Did you notice that when a particular element turned up, it would have an effect? It would start blinking.
It would flicker and you'd be like, oh, crap.
Exactly. I don't want to mention too much, just in case for those who haven't played it.
Yeah,
or haven't got to it yet.
I mean, in general, Bloober, from what I understand, this won't spoil now, but Bloober games they just make games. They don't make sequels. Each game's different.
Right.
That's right, isn't it?
No, well, Layers of Fear did have a sequel. Well, Layers of Fear 1 and 2. There was a second game.
Oh, so we best not say out on that subject then. We don't want to spoil it.
It's. I would say it was something parallel, maybe. So maybe you're technically correct. Again, it's one of those things. Unless you've played it,
I can't comment.
Played both of them. It's a little bit of an issue. But generally, yes. I suppose technically, yes, you are quite right. They normally make particular games. I think maybe with Layers of Fear, they kind of catered to the audience because the audience was clamoring for a sequel or something as well. So in that case, they may have gone a little bit different. But even then, that game was slightly different, even though it was set in the same era, industry, and genre in that regard. So,
fair enough.
I'll say technically, you could correct.
Right.
Sure.
And the other thing I wanted to speak to was the dual instance of the game running during aspects of the game.
Okay.
I think that's going to open up the door for a lot of other companies to go, holy crap, look what they did. You know? And so we may start seeing that more. And if it's done well, I could see that being very, very well used in multiplayer games, especially. Two-player games, split the screen, and they each have their own instance for certain aspects of games. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I think if I remember correctly, I'm hearing there are actually PC players are having a bit of problems themselves running the game at its full resolution because of the assets and the duplication of the assets. So whilst we may wish it to happen, maybe the technology is not fully there.
Well, but it may be there for console, but not for PC. That's something they can work on, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was hearing that the PC was also having problems with the duplication as well.
Right.
I think it might be to do with some of the assets, might be something to do with the ray tracing as well.
Right.
Because it's not just one ray tracing, it's two sets of ray tracing.
Oh, yeah.
And as you both know, ray tracing is a frame rate killer. It is just a horrendous power source.
And they're you know, what game is it that they had to turn off ray tracing to get it to work? You know. A lot of people. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're saying.
You know, it kept crashing. Always Call of Duty, Cold War. People kept having it crash, but if they turned off ray tracing, it stopped crashing. So.
I think they should have removed it from all the stores and done what they did Cyberpunk. Just remove it.
Yeah, but the game itself, the medium is like you say, it's very absorbing. You get sucked into it, and because of the fixed camera and the way the sounds work, and even the controller shaking at certain points, you really get absorbed into what's going on. You know, it reminds me of the first time I played Resident Evil with the lights off and the sound turned up, and scared the living crap out of myself many times that night. You know.
Yeah, they are very good at storytelling and actually telling a story. They know how to manipulates you into really engaging with what they're telling you.
Right. They make you pay attention. It draws you in. Yeah. And to me, that's what makes it work so well. It's not just, we're just going to blow through this area. You can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that.
No.
Well, it's excellent to hear. It is the you're right, groundbreaking, and other developers in the future might do this cerebral. You're very right. It's a new method. It's an untested thing, and it's worked.
Somebody said they own the technology, but I'm like, that's good for them because they can lease it to other people.
Exactly.
You want to use my engine? It's going to cost you.
Exactly. And apparently, the indie gamer said in chat, Bluebird are actually hiring at the minute for the next game. One of the roles is a combat designer, which is interesting as they don't generally tend to have combat in their games.
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, it's exactly. So again, this is a team that I feel will push boundaries. Now, whether those boundaries, whether it hits or missed is irrelevant, but they are a team that generally tries to push things. And you can see that just from that,
That's like
that,
sorry, I was just going to say, in the movie industry, there's I can't remember his name right now. He did things like Stolak 17 and The Apartment and things like that. Every movie he did, William something or other, was different. He never wanted to go back and do the same thing again. He's like, once I did this kind of movie, I'm done. I want to go do something else. Bluebird strikes me as the same type of thing, even though you can tell it's them, but at the same time, it's never the same. I think it's very cool, but it sounds like they're getting into they want some fighting abilities, so maybe they have something else coming up here that should be very interesting and very different from their previous work.
Oh no, it will be. No, definitely. It's good to hear you enjoyed the game, Cerebral. Most definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
Welcome, Fastback. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, Fastback's been loving it. Love the story in the medium. Not a big fan of the Resident Evil style mechanics, camera, but overall very hooked. I have played it the last 2 days. It's rare for me to play a game past bedtime. So there's a great review there. He's loving the game.
I will say some of the mechanics are hard for me with my disability and my motor control issues. When you have to run from the things and work your way down hallways and stuff and push like 3 buttons all at the same time. If you watch my streams, you'll hear me use words I usually don't use on stream.
Gosh darn it.
Because it gets very frustrating for me. But I fight my way through it at the same time. But I did, for those of you who may have seen it on my Twitter, I did message the company and Microsoft and said, look, it'd be nice if we could, after you fail 3 times or 5 times like some games do, let you skip it. Let you skip that little piece because it's too difficult to get by. Because the first game I saw that on was L.A. Noire. And by the way, incredible game. If you've never played it, you should pick it up. Great story. But that way, it doesn't shut those of us who can't normally do those things out because it can get very frustrating. And there are a lot of games like that I just couldn't finish, which sucks because, if this game would have cost me $60, I'd be pissed. Another $60 that I can't get past the first 20 minutes. It's like, okay, this sucks. Yeah. So.
No, that's good. It's good to hear you've been enjoying it. And no, it's very good. VJ, have you had the chance to play this medium game? Have you got any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I finished it. I just wanted to give something that I think Paul was saying earlier about support for the studio and the game sales. Just something came to mind. I wanted to give a shout out to Wandering Dutch for pre-ordering and supporting the studio and the game. I think he purchased it as far back as sometime last year. I was on a podcast with him, so yeah, just a quick shout out to him. See, when I finished playing the game, I'm not going to go over the key points. I think everybody's kind of covered the mechanics. My mind just sort of went over to the commercial side a little bit. I mean, the development budget, as far as I understand, was not huge for the game, as far as I understand. And also, from what I ascertained from playing the game, it was a very personal project for the team. I think the sentiment and the placement was echoed in and amongst the intro or the outro, the thank you and the credits. I don't know if you remember where it was, RS, but I was speaking to Removable Sandy as I was playing. I was saying to him, it really kind of reminded me of Parasite Eve back on the PlayStation. And I would say yes, it's a decent game for Game Pass, given its production, which I think is everything okay?
He's written all of Stubbs.
Stubbs, what's going on?
He's fucking giggling me.
Sorry about that. I changed route, but I seen that Mr. Tushi changed his name. I didn't realise I could change his name. So I called him I Love Stubbs.
Yeah.
So sorry, carry on.
You sure?
Yeah. No, good.
But I think to Paul's point about paying $60 or $50, I can't remember how much it is. I think it's about $50, right? It's to add to his sentiment. It's not going to generate subscribers or sell systems. But January is always predominantly or historically been a very lean month, and we were a little bit starved new. So and I've known Capcom, typically end of January is their sort of launch window for either new IP or Devil May Cry or a Resident Evil. But I'm not sure if a $50 retail price point would have been sustainable. So I think the Game Pass deal, as you were saying, Mr. Stubbs, has probably been a sensible decision for Blooper. I mean, I'm assuming. I know they've come out and said that look, the marketing costs and the development costs have been covered, but the marketing is obviously being covered by Microsoft, no doubt, right? And I guess looking at the game, about a $3 to $5 million budget would probably be reasonable, and you have to factor in that Poland, it's a third of the cost to make a game over there, plus the benefit of government grants and development cost rebates.
I believe they got an EU grant. I've seen on the credits they got an EU grant as well.
Yep. So $40, if you figure it out, $40 net revenue back to Blooper would see a break-even point of anywhere between 70,000 or 100,000 unit sales with Microsoft marketing it. So you can kind of ascertain it's probably really easy for them to recoup the dev cost with Microsoft backing them. For Xbox and Game Pass, I think for a lean January window, it's a cheap pickup. And for Blooper, the commercial risk has kind of been eliminated. I mean, for me, I just go back to like Microsoft have got something like 18 million subs in Xbox Game Pass. That garners in something around 250 million a month, something almost like 3 billion a year. I think after playing it, I've no issues with the studio or the game. I think I just got this feeling that Xbox needs to do better and bring in better games per month, given what we consumers pay them in advance, and then trust them to deliver excellent content. And that's why I was surprised and I was speaking to you about this, why Judgment and even Final Fantasy VII Remake, once the exclusivity is up, I thought in my sort of selfish, inward-looking thoughts at least, right, it's all subjective at the end of the day, those two would be, low-hanging fruit, right, in terms of Japanese games for Game Pass. And if anything, it illustrates the clear difference between Game Pass and the traditional business model and its value to consumers that they can really understand, right? I think it might be a trick missed, perhaps, or just some more traditional schoolboy errors from Microsoft's part. But I think at the end of the day, what it comes down to, you have to figure out, well, out of that $3 billion in cash flow, how much of that is siphoned off towards making the bottom line look good? How much is then allocated to the development studios that are making games for the long term, for internal studios, sorry? How much is then put aside for second party? And then really what is left for whoever's curating content for Game Pass in terms of cash available to acquire content for the Game Pass program. So I don't know the answers to it, but I just thought it might be an interesting point to raise.
No, I agree. I mean, I think you were talking about more the fact that they couldn't bring Judgment to Game Pass, weren't you? As well, because
that's just the side effect of what's physically available, right? For me, I played it a long time ago. It was released in 2018. It's a 3-year-old PS4 game. I know it was released in the West in 2019, but to me, there's talk of Sega and Microsoft and so on and so forth. Well, for me, I don't. How many people are probably going to play Judgment in Game Pass, and versus playing it? And to me, given the cash flow that they've got, I think it's a deal that they could have done. But again, look, I don't work there, so I don't know the semantics of it all, or the nature of it all, I should say. But yeah, just for me, it just seemed like a no-brainer. But I'm not running the division.
No, you are right. I mean, they can always improve, but I think they're still learning though, because Xbox is still in its infancy and they're still learning.
I don't buy that, Mr. Stubbs. Either you know what you're doing at somewhere like Microsoft, or you don't. And we know what we don't even work there. And sometimes the panels on podcasts seem to be much more practical and savvy and business guys that are working at these corporations. And I just get this feeling that Removable Sanity wants to chime in, so I'm going to let him.
No, not at all. No, actually, I kind of agree with you. It's a weird one, really, because again, it's just your assertion that they should know what they're doing, and you're right, they should do.
They should really,
But there also is, and it pains me to say this, there is some fundamentally stupid people in management. That's why I'm slightly giggling. It was like, because I've seen it with my own eyes. You think, how in the hell have they got to that position? What did they do to grease the wheel to get themselves in that position? They can't possibly be in that position. And unfortunately, I think it wouldn't surprise me that there are some stupid people in prominent areas in Microsoft, in Sony, in a lot of these big companies. But it still doesn't detract from VJ's point. They should know what they're doing by now.
They should do.
It's not something. Game Pass is not something that's just sort of popped up and say, "Oh, let's just see how this will fare." It's been something in the making, right? It's if you take Game Pass out of the equation, where does that leave Xbox? So, based on what's happened to Xbox over the last 7 years, it's something that's been around for or been, sort of, I was going to say gesticulation period, but that's long gone. Right. Right now, they should know the playing field inside out, and if they don't, then they need changes. Indie Gamer in the chat is saying slap him. I'm not quite sure who he means, but maybe he can elaborate.
No, it's because I was messing about. I was when you were talking. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm going to be quiet now because I think Al and Mr. Tushi need to say something.
No, you have very good points. Who wants to jump in about the medium?
Go on then. I haven't played it yet. I really want to play it, but I can't start another one because I've got that many games I'm playing at the moment. But because I've even started, I'm definitely going to finish it this week, which is Hitman 3. But anyway, back on Medium. I think it's really impressive that they've made back their profits already. Sorry, not the profits, the cost of the production and stuff. Because from now on, it's all profit. I hope it does go over to PlayStation and so on. And I swear I've seen a box with a PlayStation symbol on it. I swear I have.
Yeah, I thought I sent you that, but apparently it's something that they make custom-made controllers, and they're on all their boxes, regardless. They put them on all their boxes, Xbox and PlayStation controllers. But in general, the way Bloober work, Xbox, they do an exclusive thing with Xbox, and after said time period, they go to other platforms. Welcome, Mama Rocks. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome, Caitlin. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it.
Halo. Mrs. Halo, that's what I call her. It's but it's good though, because from now on, whatever they make now is just pure profit to help for the future productions. But I'm hoping it does go to other platforms, because why not?
It's probably
Microsoft don't own them.
Exactly.
So I think they should.
I thought Mr. Tushi was going to go in and say, "I've never ever ordered a medium when I go to a kebab shop. It's always an extra large."
Yeah.
Facts.
Hang on.
Welcome, Snake Eyes. Thanks for
that classed as a medium.
No.
That was a garlic bread. That was. I've lost my headphones now. Oh, Stubbs, can I just say what?
I don't know what you're on about, but we're not slagging off Destruction All Stars at all. So unless you're on about other shows, I don't know what that comment's about. But thanks for stopping by.
What I missed?
That is it in the chat. I don't know what he's on about, but
yeah, I don't know what brought that on.
But anyway, carry on, Mr. Tushi.
I forgot where I was now.
You're in England.
We're fucked up then. No, it's whatever they make in the future is all profit now for future production. So if it goes to another platform, it's Microsoft don't earn them, so why not? I hope it does work for PlayStation.
It's like in various interviews, they're obviously locked up in marketing deals. And I'll be honest, they've probably already got the PS5 version sitting there ready to go. But they can't say that, can they? You know,
no, because they're under NDA for all that stuff.
Exactly.
So, I'm looking forward to playing it though. I can't wait. I've just got about 6 or 7 games I'm playing now, and I need to finish at least one of them.
Oh, fair enough. No, Snake Eyes yet. I know. I just remember all the hate going towards the medium. Now it's going towards the other way. You enjoyed. Glad to hear you enjoyed the medium. But yeah, thanks for that. But no, it's all good towards the medium and the Blooper Studios.
The day it dropped, there was a lot of stupid hate being pushed for unsubstantiated issues that they latched onto, and they said, "Well, look at it, this bad." And it's like they had no idea what they were talking about.
Yeah, no. I appreciate the comments, Snake Eyes. I fully understand what you're on about. I've seen it online, all the hate towards the medium, and how people are laughing at Destruction All Stars, which I personally would love to try. It looks fun.
Yep,
that does. I don't own a PS5, so I can't try it, but it looks great. It does.
I mean, I don't know.
And it's free.
Sorry.
So I was just saying, and it's free on PS Plus this month, isn't it?
Yep.
Good move, that.
Mm.
Welcome, Lady AF. Thanks for stopping by.
I can't wait tomorrow. I think Falconeer drops on Game Pass. I haven't played that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Forward to that.
Yeah, I'll play that. I'm glad I didn't know. Save me some money.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, before we carry, can I just tell you a little something funny happened yesterday? I've decided I'm no longer going to recommend products to friends and stuff.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
What happened when VJ got his Series X? He needed a set of headphones, so I recommended he wanted just a budget pair that was just keep him going so he can talk to people and stuff. So I said get the Stealth 600. I said I've had mine for 2 years and never had an issue with them. He bought them and then mine packed up straight away just after. I think it was the day after or so. So I ended up on. And then yesterday,
that was hilarious.
when we were playing golf, I recommended a microphone for Al to pick up, the cheap one. I said I've had mine like nearly a year and it's all right. Then when I got it out, I pulled the cable out and the bloody USB port come out the back. So I have a microphone now. All I got is these headphones.
So if Tushi suggests that you get something, go the other way.
Find another product.
Buy Stadia.
I hear they're doing well. I hear they're doing well. Yes.
Anyway, over to Al now.
Yeah, you got any thoughts out on the medium?
Yes, I probably won't play the medium, and it's for 2 main reasons. The main reason, and
because you're a scaredy cat. You're a scaredy cat.
That's second reason. That's my backup, Paul. I am an absolute, and I'm an abject coward. I don't like scary games. When it comes, I get bored. The jump scares and stuff. I get sick of jumping behind the couch every time something scares me, or shouting for mummy. One of them. But I have not managed to get a series console yet, so I am unable to play it.
Oh, that's a good point.
So that's your good excuse. I don't have that console.
However, I'm happy that the studio are doing well. I was watching with interest when they were making it because Blooper Team did a couple of interviews on, I think it was Larry Habe's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
They did one before the game came out and one when the game released. And the guys that were doing it, you could tell the love and the passion they put into that project. You could tell it from the way they were acting, the way they talked about it, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm happy for the studio and onward to bigger and better things. They're obviously advertising for new staff. It was on their Twitter account today, I believe. And yeah, they're looking at a brand new project.
Indie gamers reminding you that you do have a PC that will run the game.
I don't. I really don't.
I threw it out the window just now.
This is clockwork. This thing. I've got to wind it up before I come on.
Mine runs carrion. I'm impressed with that.
So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yep.
Stubbs has gone quiet again.
He's gone for a dump.
He has gone for a dump, isn't he?
He likes to do this. He likes to keep us guessing.
And if you notice, it's always you. It's generally it's like it's F. Well, I'll get some muck so off and bugger off. Yeah.
Well, maybe he's expecting me to talk longer. I don't know. It could be me.
That's probably that's what he. I wonder if he does that generally. That's what it is. He's just like, he's got to talk for ages. I'm just going to go for a quick cuppa.
There's a possibility. There's a possibility. So yeah, I am happy that.
Well, in that case, then Al.
Yes.
You should be the perfect person to lead us into the next topic while Stubbs is deciding to have a poo.
No,
okay. That was quick, wasn't it? You see how quickly that was? No, don't you dare. Mine.
Well, the sun came in the room.
You did wait before you came back, right?
That's what you call a pot splash wipe.
So it's all good. Thanks for stopping that by, everyone. I appreciate it. Now, the next one's a big topic. Well, it has been on the internet, and Removable Sanity has been involved in many chats online, and VJ's jumped in many chats about this. There's actually an article I want to add on to this, because the Mass Effect developers came out and said why there isn't a multiplayer for the new Mass Effect remaster. On a blog from the Mass Effect website, happy N7 day. It's tough keeping a big secret, and we really struggled to keep this one a surprise, but now it's official today. We announced the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. We've heard for years your request for Mass Effect Remaster, so we're super happy to finally reveal that we've been working on a remastered edition of the Mass Effect trilogy. For many months, our team at BioWare has been hard at work updating the textures, shaders, models, effects, and technical features with 3 enormous games. Our goal was not to remake or reimagine the original games, but to modernize the experience so that fans and new players can experience the original work in its best possible form. It's been amazing to see the adventures of Commander Shepard take on a new life in a super sharp resolution, faster frames, and beautiful visual enhancements. As a games developer, we hope that our games will transcend the original platforms. Having the opportunity to remaster the trilogy means that the fruits of a decade of our work will live on and will be experienced better and clearer than ever before. The Mass Effect Legendary Edition will include single-player based content and DLC from Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3, plus promo weapons, armors, and packs, all remastered and optimized for 4K Ultra HD. It will be available spring 2021 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC, and forward compatibility and targeted enhancements on the Xbox Series X and PS5. And I've obviously read you all the wrong article because the release date came out. You get the premise, and I've got another article for you. This is one that will add to Removable Sanity's talk on this game. I'll just skip to the bit. Now, speaking to Game Informer, environment and character lead director Kevin Meek said that I feel strongly that we've chosen the things that the things what are the majority of our fans were most passionate about. On the topic of multiplayer, it was just really hard getting all of the online systems working, and the functionality would have been another large chunk to do. But at the same time, there are a lot of other logistics involved. The economy is built completely differently. Then questions came up like, do we support it post-launch? What about people who are still playing the multiplayer today? Do we try to find a way somehow to do crossplay between the PS3 and PS4? It may not sound like a big deal, but there are issues that can arise from trying to get two different game clients to work together, like World of Warcraft 3 Reforged. Since the overall project would have faced setbacks, BioWare ultimately made the decision not to include the multiplayer. Mass Effect Legendary Edition is out on the 14th of May for Xbox One, PS4 and PC, with compatibility for Xbox Series X and S and PS5, which will offer better visual fidelity along with visual improvements to 3 games. It will also have 4K resolution, 60 frames per second. HDR support. Mass Effect 1 has also been heavily modernized and improved controls and expanded locations, while character creation has been unified across all the titles for a better comparison for the remasters versus the old games. There we go. So I know a lot of talking, and hopefully you all understood me. So yeah, are we excited? And obviously the multiplayer was a big factor for Mr. Removal Sanity. Do you want to kick it off?
He's got a lot of
what got me to think was the original statement is that we are replicating the original. Now, I can't confirm, but there was an article recently come out about 4 hours ago. Is actually they're not actually also adding Pinnacle Station, so there is already cut content. So when they say, "Oh, we're trying to replicate the original," you're not really replicating the original if you're removing content. In my opinion, I am happy, 100% happy that this is being remastered. That's never going to be the issue, and what they're dealing with there and modernising it in little tweaks here and there to keep it baked to the original aspect is not a problem. The problem I realised was listening even to that conversation when they're talking about cross-gen. We wouldn't do cross-gen. You would just simply stick with the new multiplayer would have new servers. And to be honest with you, you could probably shut down the original servers, because at the end of the day, whilst it is still heavily played by fans, if the multiplayer was brand new, if we had the new multiplayer, they would have probably migrate to the new multiplayer. It's not that part. Also, the multiplayer wasn't just multiplayer. It wasn't just a horde mode. It was also integrated into the main game. It actually, in some cases, affected certain aspects of the game itself and the ending. So for me, and now hearing that Pinnacle is being cut, this was a little bit of a why are we cutting content? Why can't we just bake it in the oven for a little bit longer and have the Mass Effect trilogy in its entirety given to everybody? I suspect it's probably to do with funds. I suspect it's probably to do with some sort of decision, maybe, as they were saying, up above. But this kind of miffed me a little bit, because cut content from remaster is something we shouldn't be applauding. Whether it's remastered or not, cut content shouldn't be applauded. If they make a statement saying, we are going to replicate the original so that you understand this game, you can play this game in its original intent, removing pieces that people played and enjoyed isn't keeping to that statement.
I agree, because I'll say it again. If my dream comes true and the Phoenix Collection was remastered and released, I would expect the multiplayer to be there too. So I completely agree with you.
And my worry is this becomes a precedent. And we know what EA is like. If they can get away with this franchise, what other franchises will they cut content? And I'm not, okay, a bit of my conspiracy tinfoil hat. Who says they're not going to tag it on as extra paid DLC later on?
No, you suggested that to me, and EA being EA, I could see them doing it.
So whilst I applaud their BioWare is upgrading this game to so it can be preserved for later on, I'm still not happy. I'm not going to applaud it in the aspect that they were cutting content. I think that was my argument, and I think I made that statement in my tweet. I was like, because I am a heavily Mass Effect fan, and for me, the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer was heavily underrated. What it did for me, at least, was it integrated me with the other species in so much more of a way that the single player campaign doesn't. For those who may not understand the single player campaign, you play as a human being and you see other species, you interact with other species. The multiplayer 3, you could play as other species. So you saw it from their own perspective. The Bolos are very small. So you actually played at a small reduced height and you could see and feel their whole essence. So for me, it was eye-opening, and it really helped me engage more with the main story because I was playing as other races, understanding their lore a little bit as well. That's what it is. I just generally don't agree with cut content. Bake it in the oven a little bit longer, then push it out as it should have been.
No, I mean that's a great opinion. That is, because you are right. Because as you were saying, there was a video where it looked very good. They reckon it's one of the most underrated multiplayers in a decade or something. I watched that video.
To me, it was the best way of if we keep moaning about multiplayer as a terms of service, was it lifetime service? Was lifetime service?
Games as a service.
Games as a service. That was the perfect way. They nailed the head of a games of service. They updated it consistently. They gave you stuff free to work towards, and it made you. When I was playing that, there wasn't a week I missed. Every week was something slightly different. Or in some cases, it was 2 weeks of when they would give you slightly new characters, slightly new techniques, slightly new modes. They did that amazingly well. And if that is a perfect example of how you can maintain a games as service in terms of multiplayer. And if that was just, I don't think I missed a single week.
That's exactly what you want. That is how you want it. You can keep some people play these multiplayer games online for years, and that's how you keep people coming back. Because if you offer free content and keep the game fresh and updated, you feel, this is the way I feel, because there's a game I like playing multiplayer. I'm not going to say the name, but I do actually purchase skins and stuff because they actually give you in reward systems now to keep you playing, and you feel inclined to purchase say skins £3 or £4 every so often to chuck a bit of money in because they're giving you so much value for money. So I think that's what you're saying, a roundabout way, isn't it?
No, they actually did have, I would say that there was a very early system which was classified as a loot system. You could earn the skin or these characters by in-game completing the missions and facing off against enemies, but also you could, if you wanted to, quickly spend money. So there was the option. It was a very early loot box system, but at the same time also pay-as-you-go system, which would mean you could then pay for when you pay for something, you didn't pay for the character. It was still a bit of an RNG sort of chance at getting that particular character, but you could either do it by playing the game in multiplayer, or you could pay money to get pay for the loot box and then see if that would appear. So it just hit the nail on the head. I guess I can't sound a bit too passionate here, but it still is one of the games that I consistently go back to on a regular basis in terms of multiplayer, even now.
That's good. That's good to hear. It sounds like a game you spent a lot of time with, and sometimes people like that.
Too much.
Welcome, ACS Huss. Thanks for stopping by. Have you got any more thoughts on it? We'll get to another panel member. If not,
well, can I? Real quick. Oh,
go to the panel member.
Let me talk. Be quiet. I was just gonna say, you're talking about we don't know what's going on in the background or why they cut the multiplayer, why they cut the other part out of the game. But at this point, could it be they're running low on resources, funding? They need to get it out there so they can get some of their money back. So that, we don't know. Sometimes when they do that, it's because they're running out of time, money, resources, and EA takes money from us. I can't imagine being under their belt for asking for money. That's got to be like pulling teeth.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. And that's what worries me. That's what worries me the most. They've been forced into a position because you listen to the statement that Stubbs said. It was, we want to replicate this in its truest form, the original ideology, in its whole entirety. And then it was we had to make a decision about cutting content. I said they've even cut one of the DLCs, which is Pinnacle Station,
right?
And now they've cut Manazit. So it may be pushed. It may be a push from EA.
Yeah.
Or it may be that EA has just gone, we could make some extra money out of this. Now, I could be completely wrong, and maybe they'll give it as a free DLC later on. Exactly. That's my exact same thought, but
Oh, that's funny.
But I won't say any more. I'll let other people. That was a discussion that me and VJ had, and that was. I'm glad I'm friends with VJ because he does provide us with so much insight into these things. So I'm actually interested to hear what VJ says.
He's always got a different view of everything, not in a bad way, but he sees everything from every different angle. Whereas you see it as one, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I like him.
He's a very clever guy.
It's true. VJ, would you like to give us some words of wisdom on this subject?
I was just going to say, sure, Free and EA sort of belong in the same universe, because I don't think it does. But I think, look, I'm totally enamored with Mass Effect. It caught me totally by surprise. And when I heard that the Legendary Edition was rumored to be, coming, and Slow Mo Backslap was talking about it, and then EA finally, I think just a few months ago, I'm pretty sure, if it not for the pandemic, that they were planning to release this last quarter. So it's already a quarter later than they planned to release it. But I'm hoping that besides the visual and technical improvements, which aren't really that clear to me in their trailers or screenshots, it's still very smoke and mirrors for me. I'm hoping that the changes and modifications are more so the quality of life improvements, I guess, that have been alluded to are delivered, especially to help make the game more approachable in these modern times. I don't know if that's the right words, removable, especially for newcomers to the franchise that may have missed it in the past. And it still surprises me how something that fantastic was captured by Xbox for the 360 so early on in its life cycle, and and I want to see more of that, for Game Pass. But anyway, I don't want to sort of digress too much. But Mass Effect, for me, when I got a hold of it, someone just gave me the game, it kind of, for me, when I started to play with it, I just realized immediately, given everything else that was surrounding it at the time, forgive me, I can't remember the games at that time of the decade, it was far ahead of its time, conceptually, narratively, and in its visual design. And it wasn't using any brand new special technology. It was using Unreal 3. It was right out of the box. So again, it's not necessarily down to technology and tools. It's down to creativity and what you can actually do with those tools. So I don't know how this multiplayer facet of the game will affect every passionate supporter of the franchise or Mass Effect universe, and ultimately sales of the product. But you've heard Removable's point of view on it, right? And I've been speaking to him offline about Mass Effect, and I can see where his disappointments are coming from with the Mass Effect legendary sort of remakes issues with its cut content. But I'm not sure how much of those sort of how much of that cut content and my overall experience of the game is shared by me and I'm not totally disheartened by it. So I've got a different perspective to him on it. But he's a purist, right? If you listen to what he's saying, he's a purist. I'm not saying that I'm not, but everything is to a different degree. I'm not even sure how important the missing facets, or DLC, shall we call it, are to one sort of overall subjective journey and experience with the game, because the main storyline, if there's anything cut from that, I would definitely have a problem, because then you're never going to experience what gamers did back when the actual franchise was released over a period of a few years. I mean, it's not quite as bad as Road Rash missing bikes, or Larry versus Bird missing a basketball, but that's inwardly looking from my perspective. For me, at least, it's a journey down memory lane that I'm looking forward to have in May, if it actually comes out in May. I thought it was actually going to be coming out in March, but I'm assuming it's been delayed. And it's not necessarily because when the I mean, you know, about the issues surrounding the end game, right, and the choices removable, and that was a big hoo-ha at the time, I remember. But the thing for me, again, the end game didn't really affect me, because regardless of my direct or indirect consequences or the actions that I took during the game, but it was the journey and the spectacle and the creativity behind the Mass Effect trilogy that took me on. The journey it took me on, it was invigorating, it was surprising, it was marvelous, it was astonishing for the time, and that's why it kind of, anyone asks me, that's just my go-to game in the back of my head, other than Resident Evil 4 and Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy and those other games. But that is a mainstay, and obviously Bioshock. But so I came to love Mass Effect. It was once upon a time, you know, in a league of its own, and I think I tweeted something along those lines. And I'm looking forward to relive that experience with the trilogy. And for some, you know, when they play it again, they may see it through a different lens now, because we've all sort of grown now. What is it? How long has it been? We've all seen that 6-7 years ago. So yeah. Interesting to see if it still holds true to what it once was, compared to all the modern day games that we play. It needs to be, I think so, very good. And I am a little bit concerned, but because it has an energy to it, has a reassurance and entrustment that's coming out of BioWare in terms of how they're promoting this game, and it's sort of in the back of my mind, what's slowly percolating was obviously the brief trailer that came out for the next Mass Effect, and that's why I'm really hoping it does well and doesn't leave a sour taste in my mind, in my mouth. And that's, I think that is the critical thing, regardless of money. That's what EA need to be thinking about. Because it could have a catastrophic effect on the franchise. And I also hope that the studio or the team that is entrusted or honored with producing the next sort of, or re-envisioning Mass Effect, is not forced to utilize the unwieldy or cumbersome Frostbite engine as one was forced into, you know, employing the Mass Effect Andromeda, because that just showed you they didn't listen to the team. They forced, EA basically put their foot down, or inserted their foot or their nose, I should say, where it wasn't wanted, and they forced the team to change up the game engine when I think a lot of that team were already familiar with Unreal and how the game worked on that engine. So, but at the end of the day, I'm surprised and I'm grateful that the game's being released at all, especially since Paul and Removable Sanity have spoken about. We're talking about EA here. So anyway, those are my thoughts.
No, it's good to hear such a passionate. You had great memories with the original franchise. The reason I haven't downloaded it from EA yet is because I'd rather, if I'm going to play it, I'd rather play it on the remastered version.
I blame you. Yeah.
But then again, if the server's still up, I would like to go back and try the multiplayer as well. So, you know.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, they are still up. So there is a community that still utilises it very passionately. So I don't think it will take anything from your experience going into the game. I think if anything, it will just add to it. I think the DLCs themselves, as Vijay alluded to, they never really were about. It's not removing it. It was background content, background lore, background. It was almost, if anything, it was in adding to the actual games and the history and the lore that was surrounding part of it. You know, certain DLCs, you're like, oh, so this is who that person was. That's the background of all of this. That is who they are, because we've heard about this person particularly in the background for so many games. And now I know who they are. You know, it was very much a bolster. That's the word I'm using for the bolster to the main game.
Nice, yeah, that's good to hear. I'm gonna try and get it. I don't know whether I'll be able to afford it. I'm gonna try and buy it, but you know, it's all good to hear. I'm gonna go to Animated Evil because I feel like I keep leaving it until last. Have you got any thoughts on this, Hal?
It's all right. I apologise for the intrusion of the animal there.
I did see the cat.
Nice pussy.
It's been attacking me and the dog for ages. It's been doing my head in. Every time I shoot it away, it jumps on me.
At least you didn't show his arsehole to the camera.
I should have done.
Cats usually do, don't they?
Yeah. Anyway, I am looking forward to it. I played the originals myself. Really loved them. I really love the story. It's absolutely fantastic. What I'm more excited about is actually introducing them to my two kids that play a lot of games. It's no good me saying to my 13-year-old, go on Mass Effect 1, because he's just going to say, what's this broken mess? And gameplay-wise, it wasn't great, was it? And it hasn't really held up graphically when you play the old versions. So I'm actually trying. That's exactly what I'm going to. Yes,
sorry.
Hear me. It's all right.
So he's got basically what he's telling you is he's going to be supporting it even more because he's got to buy 2 copies of the game, not 1.
Indeed.
No, game share. No, game share. You'll be all right.
I game share with somebody, and I'd still have to buy 2 copies. So it's
fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, for them to experience what I did, because it was pretty much groundbreaking to me back in the day, just on the story alone, the amount of time I put in it, superb. So yeah, I think it's great, and I agree with Irremovable that any content deleted out of a remake when it's supposed to be a complete edition, it's not agreeable to me. But yeah,
no, and I agree. I mean, it's just the thing. I want people to experience the game because, as you rightly said, I think everyone agrees here, it was a groundbreaking game. And so, if anything, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed because they won't get to experience the full palette that this game really so richly deserves everybody to play. You know, I want your kids to experience every tiny little aspect of it because, as you rightly said, it is a fantastic franchise, and it really showed the studio at its peak in terms of storytelling and in engagement.
Yeah, it was lightning caught in a bottle. It really was.
Nice analogy.
Wear it out.
It's good to hear. It really is good to hear that.
Perhaps Mr. Stubbs was shooting bolts of lightning from his behind.
No.
That was a curry.
No, it's good to hear that you experienced it the first time around as well. And you'll get to experience it with your son now as well. That's really good, that is.
2 of them.
Well, I'm supporting the developer by buying it twice.
Exactly, yes.
Welcome, Graphic God. Thanks for stopping by, mate. I appreciate it. Have you got any thoughts, Mr. Tushi, on this game?
Yeah, sorry, I was waving at Graphic God when you said hello to him. Yes, I just can't get my words out now. It's one game that I've always wanted to play, but I've never got around to playing. I own them all, and Andromeda. I own them all.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
I've never got around to playing them. Everyone gets memories of playing, but when I kept hearing the rumours of the remake coming or remastered, so I've decided to wait because I remember Jamie Moran put a tweet about it coming. There's rumours it's coming, and I put a comment and said I've never played it, and it kind of like fired up. Everyone was shocked that I've never played it. Same with when I was talking to Joe, I've never played Bioshock either. I've never played any of them.
Bioshock, I never completed it.
Oh dear.
But that will surprise nobody. That will surprise nobody with being me.
He's never played Bioshock.
I'm just late to some of the big franchises, that's all.
Yes, 20 years late. Whatever.
I'm looking forward to. I will be buying the remaster, and I will be playing them all straight through. Hopefully, I'm kind of not. I see why people are not about the multiplayer.
You've upset any gamer. Fire Tushi. Bioshock is the most fire myself then, because I've not played them either.
Bioshock.
I've started number 1 on the 360, but that was a disc which I no longer own. So I may own it. I may have to look through, see if I've still got it.
I think you've just there's a Bioshock landslide in the chat now.
Oh, they're all kicking off now. Graphic God says Bioshock is one of my favourite franchises. Oh, it's hitting the fan now.
I actually bought it on sale on the PS4. I've got it on my Pro, but I've never played it. Bioshock. I will buy it again, I think, on the Xbox. But back to the multiplayer thing, I feel like I kind of feel like I'm not missing out because I don't even know what the multiplayer is like or what the story's about, so it's all going to be new to me. I probably wouldn't play the multiplayer anyway because I'm playing that many multiplayer games at the moment, which there's no time for anything else. But I'm looking forward to trying the stories on them. But it is a shame because I do know there's a big player base out there and a lot of fans out there that do enjoy the franchise. But I think they should have brought the multiplayer back, or at least it like crossplay to the older generations at least, or even just implement the old multiplayer into it so you can still play it. But as you said,
because if they do, eventually everyone knows the Xbox 360 servers are going to go down. So
yeah, just like the Halo one.
Yeah, I don't know. Eventually they will just shut all the 360 servers offline. So that's probably why they wouldn't do that. It's a good idea, but it's not something they could probably do because eventually they will just shut the 360 servers off completely.
Yeah. Well, it's going to happen. It's like 2 generations ago, isn't it? So
exactly, they've kept them up for a long time,
almost 20 years ago. So
so you can't knock them for that, But it's good to hear you want to try it out like myself. It is good to. Do you have any more thoughts, Cerebral Paul, on this subject, or did we get to you?
No, I really enjoyed the games when they came out. I tried to go back and play the first one again. Couldn't get back into it. I never did the multiplayer, but when this comes out, when I finally pick it up, I will probably check it out. Just because it has been so long since I played, so I'm looking forward to it. But like I said, I never did the multiplayer at that point, so I really have nothing to say about that. So.
Okay, fair enough. It's good to hear. Basically, everyone's got some big. We've got some big fans of the franchise in the podcast, and two people like me, Tushi, I never played it. Frauds. But yeah, no, it's been a good show tonight, and we haven't derailed and gone off topic tonight. What has happened? What happened this week?
We've all grown up.
Give it time.
Yeah, we haven't derailed this week.
Hey Stubbs, we may not have played Mass Effect, but at least we played Edith Finch who completed it.
Exactly. Facts.
Let's do a vote. See how many completed that game in the panel.
What's that?
Edith Finch.
I reckon most of the panel have.
I have.
Yeah.
Elvida has.
I have.
I bet Cerebral has.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Everyone's completed it.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I think Animated Evil's it gave the thumbs up.
Yeah.
I've just seen it.
Oh yeah, I've definitely completed it.
Indie Gamer's laughing now.
Be quiet.
And I've not played Hollow Knight yet.
You've not, or you have?
No, I haven't. I've been too busy playing golf.
Yeah, what about Hollow Knight? Andy wants a roundup of the chat. Who's played Hollow Knight? Oh, I'm playing it.
I haven't even downloaded it yet. I've looked at it. Doesn't really look like my thing. Doesn't mean I won't try it though. I usually try everything once.
I was in exactly the same boat as you, Paul. I didn't think it was my cup of tea, but once I've played it, now I've got into it, I can't put it down.
which is a good thing. I mean, that's what you. The problem is sometimes you enjoy games, but not all games hook you. There's games where it grabs you that much that you don't want to put it down. Some games you enjoy, and you can put it down, but some games get you addicted. It's the only game you focus on, and that's when it's good. I think you're at that stage, VJ.
Yeah. Look, it's a phenomenal product. I mean, I've already tweeted about it, and just the marriage of visuals, the game design, the mechanics, the music. It's just a masterclass of creativity. Now, given that platformers with tight controls, are not everybody's cup of tea. But for me, I'm more enamored with this game by a big margin than I was with, say, Ori. So if that tells you anything, and so be it.
Yours is more trained, I think.
My co-host came up to say hello.
Yeah, I have a wild one.
No, she bugs me anytime I'm on the computer. She wants to sit there in my arm. A lot of times I'm trying to do stuff with one hand.
That's what he was referring to at the start of the podcast. But I don't think anyone could see it well enough. But yeah.
Notice he petted the butt plug, then he sniffed his finger. That's just weird. That's just.
That's nice curry. I can smell on it.
Oh, for God's sake. There we go. He's derailed it.
I'm going to retract my comment about us all growing up. Having grown up, yeah.
Don't worry, me and Stubbs had a conversation today about pegging.
I didn't know what it was. You had to explain it.
I think
he says that, but really, he was just.
Yeah, I should have said this because it's been completely derailed now.
Stubbs is the pegging.
He's the catalyst.
Has anybody in the panel played State of Decay 2?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah,
many hours.
I bought that for £28 on sale when it came out, and I haven't played it in a long time.
I tried.
It's upgraded.
Sorry, go ahead, Removal.
It's been upgraded a hell of a lot since its original release.
I might reinstall it then.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it actually.
It's good fun, especially with a group of friends. It's really good.
I don't know. So.
It's in a group.
I'm here.
That way.
Yeah, we need to play more together.
And what's cool about that one is you can jump in and out.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, when I first started that game, the first time I played it, when it came out, I really struggled. You know, when you're at the house and you have to build. I think you have to build a fabricator or something. And you have to build a make it or something. I didn't know what to do, so I just ended up just wandering around, just killing zombies and stuff. And I went back on it like about a year later, I think it was, and I actually figured out what to do. I actually enjoyed it the second time I started playing it compared to the first time. It's good fun. It's good fun with friends anyway.
That's good to hear.
It's got that CFP effect, I think, where it's just a great time with friends.
It does help if you're new to have friends with you who played it. Then they can tell you, no, you need to go do this, and here's why you're doing this. And
I just saw Fastback in the chat. He loves State of Decay 2. Yeah, I just started it today, just 15-20 minutes in, and I just thought, actually, this is a really good game. So,
the only thing you won't like is if it ever glitches and kills your main character, permadeath, you'll be doing what a lot of us do, screaming, crying, throwing, I'm never playing this game again, and then 3 days later you'll be back.
Is that still an issue, Paul, or has that been addressed?
Which one? The permadeath thing is part of the game.
Right.
The glitches that cause it, most of them have been addressed, but they still happen.
Understood.
Was it State of Decay 2 or was it Dead Rising 3, I think, where when you'd be playing at night time, the zombies would be more aggressive?
They do that in State of Decay 2 as well.
Is it State of Decay?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the eyes change colour, don't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
If I remember correctly.
Yep.
Thanks for stopping by, back from the dead and welcome.
Just like Dying Light, the zombies get very vicious at night.
Yep. And in fact, Dying Light, they announced another update for Dying Light with new characters and new aspects. They're still updating that game as we speak.
Yeah, there's another game that's kind of, I don't know whether it's the same kind of, that's heavily updated. I think it's in Game Pass. There's a big online community. It's the same game, isn't it? Dead by Daylight. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The same. Yeah, you're all about the same game, aren't you? Don't worry.
Dead by
Dying Light
is run around and don't get killed. I'm not good at those games.
Oh, right. 2 different games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was speaking to somebody today. Just a little bit off topic. He heard a rumor. I'm trying and find it. That remember Test Drive Unlimited? The Test Drive 3 is coming out soon.
Oh.
Apparently, it's rumored to be in Japan. Apparently.
What's that?
But I'm gonna.
Yeah, I remember seeing that earlier or last week or the end of last week.
Test Drive Unlimited. It was. It's pretty much like Forza Horizon before Forza Horizon came out. I think it was before, wasn't it? I can't remember.
It was quite a while before because it was touted more of a driving simulator, wasn't it, where you could do races and stuff.
Something like 2008 or 2009 or something.
Something like that, early as that, yeah.
I remember you could, when you were on the inside view, you could put your windows down, you could put your indicators on, everything, couldn't you? And
oh yeah, absolutely, you could do everything, yeah.
It was good fun on multiplayer. That was back then, anyway.
To be fair, though, there's only one game that's coming out soon that we all really should be wanting to play, and that's the Trucker Simulator.
Oh,
so we can now fully experience Tushies.
I love that tweet the other day. I was laughing my head off at that tweet. If you wanna have a day in Mr. Tushi's life, this is the game.
Yep.
If you want a true experience, get yourself a McDonald's and play.
Yeah,
have a McDonald's with it.
The rule is though, you've got to get up at 3 a.m. and still be up at midnight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Did you send them the story how you got stuck in the mud and almost flipped the truck, so they can make that one of the missions? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tushi just needs to speak to the actual devs.
Yeah.
And he could put in a whole load of little challenges.
Achievement. How to get out if you're stuck.
If you're parking for the police station, you're going to get penalized,
Yeah, you can imagine achievements.
I nearly lost the truck though. It was probably only if you probably gone about maybe a couple of inches deeper. I reckon it would have flipped it.
It wouldn't surprise.
Well, because I was on like on this construction site, and it's like a tarmac path, and then it goes off the mud where I had to get down and take the steel girders and groundwork stuff all down there. But when I actually went onto the mud, he didn't realise how soft it was, and I just literally sank straight in him. The truck was about a 45-degree angle, and I think I had about 12 ton of weight on the back of it, so it was literally just leaning over. I was fucking terrified it was going to flip, because when it actually went clean on the seat button, I was picturing lying on the door. Anyways, it's fucking scary.
See, that's what you need. That's the sort of thing you could pass that on to the devs, and they could do. Your input could change trucker simulating forever. You can imagine the achievements alone. Complete three McDonald's drive-throughs in one day. Deliver the tightest road in England. There you go.
And all you need, you tell them the achievement has to be called the tushi.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, that picture up on stage when we sat there, and there was a picture with me in this little cave with you can see a bus in front going past.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where my delivery was today, I went past it, and when I rang the guy and said I couldn't find it, so it was like a 25-minute drive to do a loop to get back to the site, and I had to go into a bus lane to get to the entrance to reverse it. No, so I've got another fine coming tomorrow.
Oh no!
London for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds like a nightmare for lorry drivers. Welcome, Centurion. Thanks for stopping by, mate. I appreciate it.
It's not bad as 130 quid a time.
I don't know how lorry firms or drivers do it. You know.
Well, it's a big you know what my friend was saying. It's a combination.
They're on commission.
Who?
The traffic wardens.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Like the one I got that one the other week where I done the delivery to the police station. I parked outside and they fucking give me a ticket for it.
Yeah, they have targets, don't they? They have targets they've got to meet.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. But I can't believe it. It's London.
Tushi has probably paid for some guy's in-ground pool by now, but you know.
It's a lot of money though.
It is.
It all adds up at the end of the year anyway.
It does. It does.
And speaking of in 4 hours' time, I'll be back up again.
Wow.
Gotta go down south again tomorrow.
You're going to be jagged.
So I'll have a double sessioning muffin on the way down. It'll keep me awake.
Are you going to hit the M11 services?
No. I'll be going down the M40 in the A34 tomorrow.
Right.
I'll be right. It's good fun, isn't it?
Anyway, it's been a very good. Thanks for stopping by, Goat Force Gaming. I appreciate it. But anyway, it's been an incredible show tonight. I've enjoyed it tonight. It's been a good show. Some good big news topics have come out, and it's been a good one this week, I reckon. The chat seemed to have enjoyed it, and the panel. Thanks for stopping by, Cerebral Paul. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Cerebral Paul 1 on Twitch, or excuse me, on Twitter, and Cerebral Paul on Twitch. And you can find me here every Wednesday night on Midweek Gaming, and you can now find me every Sunday on the Flamish Experience, talking about nothing, kind of like the Flamish version of Seinfeld, the show about nothing.
Are you now regular on the panel?
Yes.
Yep.
Is it gonna transcend that the Flamish Experience is the same panel as Midweek Gaming?
I have no idea.
I'm starting Sunday as well.
Yeah. So
yeah, people, he's transferring them all over.
Whoa! I'm doing nothing.
Yeah,
it's all good.
He forgot the camera was on. Oh.
Hang on, isn't Flamish the guy that loses at golf anyway?
Yeah. Well, he turned his difficulty down. He turned so now he's -5. So now he may be harder for me to beat, but I'll still beat him.
Calling out.
I'll play him again this week.
Called out live.
Right.
Poaching indie gamers calling it. It's poaching talent, poaching podcasters.
Hey, I've got not much else to do, so I'm more than happy to do podcast.
I'm really pleased for you, Cerebral. You really deserve it. You're a good podcaster and a really good guy, a really good community member. You are. You deserve to be on a lot more shows.
I always worry that I'm not adding any real content to the shows. So,
well,
you add it every week here.
Yeah,
I think that's as a general podcaster's feeling. I think everyone has that aspect of where, is my opinion worth any weight? Is it, am I doing? I think that's a general.
Well, what's funny is my opinion is different than a lot of others, and I've noticed that as I watch more shows and I listen to what people, I'm going, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's probably a good thing I'm not on the mic when that happens, but
But that's a good thing, if you just repeat everybody else's, then it's not your opinion, isn't it? The idea is that it's your opinion.
Yep.
We wouldn't be calling you Cerebral Paul if you kept repeating everybody else's opinion.
Nope. Yeah. So that's it. But I'm enjoying it. I have a lot of fun. I've learned a lot since I've gotten more involved in this stuff because I look at more stuff. I pay attention more because it used to be I'm a gamer, but I didn't pay attention to all the business aspects. But now I'm kind of starting to learn and watch and go, oh, okay, that's why they did that, or So. I mean, I'm learning as much as I'm trying to teach, as it were,
That's good to hear. It is. Just got a message from It's Timmy. Another great midweek gaming podcast tonight with great topics as always. I don't know whether he does YouTube, but he always messages through Xbox Live to me. He doesn't
put it in the chat, but he messages it to you.
He could be watching it on his Xbox.
He is. It says that. He says he's watching YouTube on Xbox, so that's where he's watching it.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for stopping by. And VJ, thanks for stopping by. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter, but I don't really like talking about all that where you can find me business. But I just wanted to say thanks for having me on the show again. And it's been good. And I know it's touch and go if I could appear on it, but yeah, it's a good couple of hours and giving me a break from the norm. So thanks for inviting me, Mr. Stubbs. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you on. There are definitely some really fun topics there. I can tell that you actually enjoyed some of the topics there on bringing up your past experiences for Mass Effect, and it was good. It was good to hear. It was.
Yeah, I really try consciously hard not to sort of say what I think and come across more of how I think, but it's very hard to do and very difficult to keep mindful of. But we keep trying, keep practicing, and one day perhaps we'll get there.
Oh, I think you offer lots of podcasts, and you go on Boom Show, you do a good job there. You used to be on a lot of podcasts, but obviously you scaled it back a bit recently. But I think it's playing a lot more games. You've got more time to play games, and obviously it's a different situation. But I think you seem like you're in a good place at the moment. You know.
Yeah. As I said, being invited onto the podcast, being invited onto sort of play multiplayer.
I know the other night we were sat there waiting, and Mr. Tushi just did turn up.
But like for example, I was just going to play something on Saturday, and then the Indie Gamer kindly invited me on to play with Infinite and Fastback and a game. I can't remember the name of the game. No, Battle Rock or something with dwarfs in space, and it was incredible. And then obviously he put me onto Hollow Knight. So just want to give a shout out to him for making it a really great week so far for me. So I think he's got some fantastic recommendations, the Indie Gamer, and he doesn't just name games for the sake of it or drop names. You know, he's actually played them, he's experienced them, he understands what they mean. He's really delved deeply into those games and given it some thought, a bit like Removable, really. Another underrated person in the community in terms of what he brings to it, so what I would say is that if he recommends anything in his tweets or to you personally, definitely give it a go, because more often than not, I think you'll find certain games, regardless of the fact if you'll prefer those genres or not, entertaining and enlightening to say the least. But I'll just shut up now since I think you want to cut the show short.
Thanks for stopping by. It was called Deep Rock Galactic.
Yep.
You said.
Yep, I think I'm sure I was using a device similar to the one that Mr. Tushi just showed us on camera, but I can't be sure.
What's that?
Some sort of plug or something you were waving around.
They don't mind the missus.
Yeah. They all say that.
Pull it right and fall out.
Thanks for stopping by. As always, it was a pleasure. Can you tell people where they can find you?
Again, thank you again for having me on the show. I'm always kind of surprised I'm allowed to be on any show, to be honest with you. I'm thankful for every show I go on to, especially speaking with you lovely chaps. You can find me on Twitter, Xbox, Minds, and YouTube under the name Removal Sanity.
Thanks for stopping by.
And on the golf course, you can find him in the sand or in the water. So
yeah, mostly that'll be it. Yeah.
That's with Flemish as well.
Thanks, Animated Evil, for stopping by. Can you tell people where you can find you?
As always, thank you for inviting me on again. You can find me on Twitter, animated_evil, Xbox Animated Evil 857. I will be here every Wednesday. I have the honour of helping that guy over there with his community game night, which I'm sure he's going to tell you all about. And on a Sunday, I am on the Flemish Experience with that guy up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Mr. Tushi, can you tell people where they can find you? Even though probably every person in this chat probably knows, but obviously we are now on podcast networks as well, and I'm putting the podcast on other platforms, so someone new could find you all you guys, so it could help.
You can find me anywhere as Mr. Tushi. Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, PlayStation, and Switch with loads of numbers, but I don't know what they are. But you can also find me on the community channel every Saturday, and at the moment we're just testing out some games on a Friday, just to bring some more games to the rotation. Just quickly, this Friday we're doing Formula One, full simulation, full qualifying, everything. Yeah. We're doing a proper race like we did the NASCAR last week.
Yeah, I downloaded that game. I don't think I'm going to last the first lap. Okay.
I'm thinking of turning damage off because I've done a couple of laps just to try it out, and I hit the wall and I lost my front wheels. I think best turn because it only takes one plonker to go too fast in the corner, and I take out like 6 cars, and everyone's going to be sitting there in the lobby waiting while we do 70 laps.
Cool.
It's going to be a full simulation, hopefully.
Yeah, not good.
And Saturday, credit to Al because he's picked the games for Saturday. We're playing Titanfall 2 and Burnout Paradise Remastered. We're going to try out, give that one a while.
Both in Game Pass through EA Play.
Mm-hmm. Everything's available on Game Pass this weekend.
That's good.
That's about it, really. That's about it.
Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Now, there's a podcast this Saturday that actually Removable Side didn't say. I don't know whether he thought he couldn't announce it or not. The Indie Games podcast returns this Saturday on the Indie Gamers channel, 8 p.m. UK time. And the guests are Lord Cognito, Removable Sanity, and obviously the Indie Gamer is on there with it being his podcast. And we also have Fastback and Super Cooper. So that should be a stacked show. It's always a good show to hear and watch the Indie Gamer. So if you could check that out, it'd be much appreciated. He runs a really good indie game show. It's quite unique. Most people just talk about AAA bangers. And he talks about the indie games, which in our podcast field in our community, you don't get that. So it's a bit unique, and I'm looking forward to hearing it. And Removable Sandy back on the airwaves of the Indie Games podcast.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things I didn't know whether I could say it, but yes, without a doubt, if you love indie games as much as Indie does, or even if you enjoy indie games as much as I do, that is the show to discuss those games in depth and also see what is coming. I would recommend it, even if you are just intrigued.
Yeah, it will definitely be a good show. It always is. I'm a big fan of that. It's a show you actually have to watch as well. He's got it set up so obviously you can listen to it, but every game he's got it set up so every game you talk about now, he has footage on screen so you can see exactly what they're talking about, which I think is great.
I think it's a really well curated panel for Saturday. I can already see the kind of conversations that may occur, very contrasting, and I think it's going to be one. Yeah, I think it'll be one very important podcast to actually watch. It'll be very interesting. I'm glad you're on it, Removable.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, as
I hope you do it justice.
I'll be in the chat mocking you.
I look forward to it.
Matter of fact.
Yeah.
Well, so there's one more thing I just want to say quick. There's something that me and Fork are trying. We're trying to we're going to do a Fortnite tournament. We're scrapping the money idea because some people weren't happy about it, but we're just going to do it for fun. But anyway, we've got a server for 100 players, and we're trying to give people a bit of notice and see if we can get some players in. Also, tonight on Gaming Beyond the Box, there's going to be something announced that me and Falk are organising. Obviously, I'll tweet about it tomorrow. But it should be something fun for a lot of people to get involved in.
That's interesting. That's good to hear.
Yeah, competitive, very competitive and challenging, should we say.
I know what it is, roughly, but I can't say. I don't fully know what it is. I roughly know. I actually know. I know bits. But anyway, thanks for coming on, everyone, and thanks for the chat. Thanks, Telegonic, Go Force Gaming, The Indie Gamer, Dragon Wolf. I've got the list a bit more. Just trying to get back up the chat a bit. Chat's been quite good. Centurion, thanks for stopping by. Fastback, aka Slowback, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, there's been loads tonight. I've lost the chat now, so shout out to everyone who stopped by. It only goes up so far. It doesn't on this StreamYard app.
That's what she said.
I appreciate everyone stopping by. If you download us on podcast networks, can you please leave a review? Would really appreciate that. And thanks for stopping by, everyone. And we'll see you all next week. Actually, this Sunday at 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. EST, and 2 p.m. PST, the Stubbscast returns with fun speculation. So that will be a good fun interview. I'm quite looking forward to that, so that should be great. But anyway, thanks for stopping by, everyone. And I'll see you all soon.
It's nice.